So, things are moving along. Okay, the war's moving along. We have teamed up with Stalin. Yes, Stalin in the Soviet Union and Great Britain, and the three of us, the United States, Soviet Union, and Great Britain. We are the big allied powers of World War II. We are the winning team. We are the good guys. Watch out for us. We team up. We are going to take out those Nazis. And the only way we can take back those Nazis or take out those Nazis if we can take back Europe. So we really need to wipe out Mussolini down there in Italy and really get Hitler on the move. But we're having a really hard time getting feet on the ground in Europe. So we need to come up with a super, super good plan so that we are able to get a foothold there so that we can start our push into Europe. And lucky for us, Hitler has decided to invade Soviet Union, so now he's focused on many different places, and things aren't going great for Mussolini. He's really losing support, and a lot of people in Italy are not thrilled with his fascist tactics, and so Mussolini will eventually lose his head. Tragically, he is harangued by the people, and him and his wife are killed and hung in the town square for about a week. These things happen when you're a dictator and you kill a bunch of people and you don't really consider the well-being of your country. It doesn't usually end well for you. So the U.S. manages to get troops into Italy. They land in Sicily, I believe, and then they land in like Salerno and Monte Cassino, and we push our way into Italy, and that's amazing. But Hitler's not in Italy. That's Mussolini. We need to deal with France, Belgium, Poland, all of those places that Hitler's just taken over. So we come up with, again, a very good plan. We are going to launch a secret operation. But if we let Hitler know that we're going to launch this operation, or if word gets out that we're going to launch this operation, it won't be a secret anymore. So we have to create a decoy operation. And so the decoy operation is launched, and it is meant to be just that, a decoy that's supposed to convince the Germans who have stationed themselves along the beaches of France to defend the stretch of land, or the stretch of water between France and England, that very small channel there, from invasion. And the only way you're going to get people into Europe is if you can invade and take the Germans by surprise. And so the Allied powers come up with this plan. We are going to launch an air and sea invasion collectively that's going to bring us into France. But we have to do it so we can take the Germans by surprise. So we need to decoy them. We've got them convinced that the operation and the invasion is coming further up the coast or somewhere, just not where it is. Meanwhile, the Allied forces are preparing to cross the channel by boat and by plane, and they are going to storm the beaches of Normandy, and they're going to do the whole coastline so that it's going to happen all at once, because you can't do it one by one. The German defense is too powerful. The whole thing needs to be stormed together. So we are using all sorts of military weapons. We're using landing crafts. We're using paratroopers. We are using airplanes. We're using infantry, tanks, everything to get feet on the ground in France. And it is an extremely, extremely deadly mission. Dwight Eisenhower is known for giving his speech the day before they launched this. And so on June 4th, 1944, Operation D-Day is supposed to be launched. But the weather doesn't cooperate, and so they have to hold off, and then it officially launches on June 6th, 1944, with the largest operation of invasion in Europe, where the Allied forces are going to invade all of the beaches. They've codenamed them Omaha, Utah, etc., and Allied forces are landing all over the beaches of Normandy, and the Germans are taken by surprise. Which is really good for us, because we do manage, after many, many hours of fighting and lots of loss of life, to take the beaches of Normandy and push the Germans back. And once we get them on the retreat in France from that, we can continue our forces in. And now we've got our allied forces in Italy coming up, and we've got our allied forces in France. So now we're putting a squeeze on them. They're coming in from both sides. And the Soviet Union is pushing on the German soldiers from up here because the German soldiers are not prepared for Russian winter. So even if the Soviet Union soldiers weren't working that hard, the Germans are freezing to death in Stalingrad. Their weapons don't work, their military supplies don't work, their gas is freezing in the lines, people are dying, and they're also being killed and shot at by the Red Army. So Hitler and his super great army have suddenly found himself in a kind of like a 3-point squeeze here. And the goal is that we are just pushing them all back into Germany, which by 1945, it's very clear that it's working. And so we have groups have been meeting throughout the war, but our last big conference of the war is the Yalta Conference, where the big three, Stalin, Churchill, and Roosevelt, meet together to discuss the terms of the end of the war. Now, at this point, Franklin Roosevelt is dying, although most people don't know this. He has been elected for his 4th term, which is unheard of, but he's also dying. He's not doing well. And so they meet and they agree to create an alliance with, again, Stalin and the US agree to an alliance to continue to end the war in Europe. And Franklin Roosevelt ends up dying about a month before Germany officially surrenders. And he never really sees the end of it, although I have a feeling he knew it was coming. The war in the Pacific is going to continue for about 6 more months. But now we have a new president. We have Harry Truman. And Harry Truman has to take on the task of ending the war in the Pacific. Germany surrenders in May 1945 after being pushed back on all sides. Hitler and his group of men, a lot of them commit suicide in the Hitler bunker. The rest of them are put on trial for crimes against humanity. But the Japanese part of the war, the Pacific Theater, isn't going so well, and we really need to deal with that. Luckily for Harry Truman, the US has another super secret weapon. And so our next video, we're going to talk about that super secret weapon, the end of the war, and the end of this unit. So I will see you there.